lot today. We're going to go over the syllabus, but you certainly need to be able to log into it for future reference. By Monday, you're going to need to be able to get on. You find the class, you go to Advanced Java Programming. There are two important documents. One is just this introduction page, and then there's another one which is a syllabus, which covers a lot of the same material.
I didn't put it in mine.
Yeah, like I said, you may just have to watch.
That's all right. You'll get it.
You're not even, okay.
I'm enrolled in the course on here, but I'm in a different section.
Where's the stuff? Okay.
Of
You're
course.
right. You are so right. I did not copy that stuff to the online
Yeah, you
version.
can do it later. That's fine. I'll watch what you do.
It won't take long to do. So, I am Professor Jeffrey Thompson. You can call me Jeff. You can call me Mr. Thompson. Just don't call me names. That'll hurt my feelings. Anything else is fine. I've been a Java developer and a Java instructor here for about a decade. And before that, I was a professional software developer using other languages like C++, which are very closely related to Java. Java is just about my favorite language. It's my pet. So I really love teaching it. I hope everyone will learn to love it here. Out of everybody here, who has taken the introductory Java course? Well, cool. I wonder about the people who are missing. Could you tell me if they have or not? Kidding. Alrighty. So, you know where to meet. Everybody found the room? You know what? Let me check to make sure there's no one sitting in there.
We went down to 216 a while ago and made sure.
So, you know where we meet, what we will be learning, concepts of programming with Java, hopefully above and beyond what you learned in Java 1. Things like using abstract data types, which you may have touched upon if you've used lists, but we'll dig deeper into them. Also, multi-dimensional arrays. You may have only done single-dimensional arrays. Polymorphism and other object-oriented programming techniques like inheritance. And the development of graphical user interfaces. This is the minimum. I want us to go beyond this. Textbooks. You probably already have the textbook.
I have the first edition.
That'll work.
That'll work, okay.
Yeah. There's a chapter that got split into 2 chapters.
Yeah, I saw
We will
that.
need to make allowances for that.
Okay.
But the PowerPoints are up there so you can.
Oh, okay. I was hoping I could still use my old book.
Yeah. We will go back and hit the syllabus. Y'all are taking a 2000 level class, so I'm not walking y'all through as many things otherwise. But, if you're going to get to all the folders, you're going to wind up either clicking Course Tools, Content, and you'll see the syllabus information and the school information and stuff like that. Or that is also off to the side. Not every instructor puts the things in the same place, but if you go to Course Home, why does it look like that? This is going to be an interesting class to teach if all semester long we have. Well, how odd. All right, quick links certainly aren't showing up. Onward and upward. We'll get back to the syllabus. The programming language we will use, of course, is Java. Assignments and due dates. For those of y'all who haven't had me before, then this is worth listening to. The way I do it is usually if I cover a topic in class, I may give you an assignment that addresses the same topic. More realistically, I'll talk about something for 2 days before I slap you with an assignment. But then you'll have a week to get it done. So if I give you an assignment on Wednesday, it'll be due Tuesday at midnight. Doesn't mean you have to panic if you don't get it done Tuesday at midnight. But there are consequences. If you get it done early, if you turn it in on time, you get a 5% bonus, which is kind of cool because it builds up over time. You get 5% bonuses. That's, might even be able to blow off doing a program at the end of the semester, if you run out of time or something like that. So that's something to shoot for. Get everything turned in on time. If it's late, up to a week late is minus 10% off, so it's a maximum of 90 points. 2 weeks off, you know, is 20%. After 4 weeks, I don't accept anything more than a month late unless you have a really strong reason to. You know, I'm pregnant, or, you know, my parents died, I had to go to Wisconsin for 2 weeks. You know, whatever. Just let me know. I might waive the penalties if you talk to me about it. If you don't talk to me about it, I won't know why it was late. So, you know, I'd be less generous. We will do 2 kinds of homework. One is when I'm up here typing stuff and you're following along, you know, kind of like Simon says. And the other are the homework assignments. The in-class tutorials, the first one that I mentioned, you're probably going to get 100% as long as you show up and you do those. So out of all the points that are awarded for the in-class assignments, you got to be able to get 100% as long as you're showing up, or as long as you're watching the videos and typing along. Even if it doesn't work perfectly, just upload what you got going, you know. Maybe there was some problem with it towards the end and we didn't get to, you know, you didn't get to ask me for help on it, whatever. You'll probably get full credit for uploading the in-class assignments. The homework, on the other hand, I want it to work. If there are syntax errors in it which prevent it from compiling, if it doesn't compile, I'm not going to grade it. I'm not going to look at the code and try to figure out what it was supposed to do. You just get effectively a 0 or 1% on it. But that doesn't mean that you failed the assignment. It just means that you better correct it. So when you upload an assignment, when you're done with it, and everybody knows how this goes, you can go and check your feedback in the Dropbox. And if you only scored a 1, I'll say why. Or if you only made a 70 out of 100, I'll say why. Why might you only make a 70? What if it does most of what I wanted, but it doesn't work perfectly? You know, what if it was supposed to calculate payroll, but you forgot to take overtime into account? Or what if it was supposed to do matrix multiplication and it looked like it was doing it, but you got the wrong answer? You know, you get good partial credit for at least taking a valiant effort at it. Then you revise it and you upload it again. Get it right the second time or the third time, you'll probably make an A on it. The due dates, you know, the penalties for due dates don't really apply so much if, you know, you're revising your program. It might take me, you know, up to a week in order to grade it. Did you find out it only earned a 70? No problem. It's not that you know, the clock kind of stops when you get it submitted. And then as long as you are turning in regular revisions to it, you're going to do okay on it. Does that make sense? It's like a real job. You know, if the users find a bug in the software in real life, you don't just get fired, hopefully. Maybe if it's a really serious bug, like the programmers who forgot to convert the English units to metric on one of the Mars landers, and so it slammed into Mars rather than you know, firing the retro rockets at the right time. I wouldn't want to have been the programmers who made that mistake. But otherwise, what do? You find a bug, you fix it, you give it to the customer again. You know, that is just the fact of life of software. So no software is perfect. There's always a development cycle where you know, you give them a version of it, they find problems, you fix it. Pretty much a truism of all software.
Never 100% done.
Right. All due dates you will be able to spot by going to the Dropbox. Where do you find the Dropbox? Well, since I'm not seeing the quick links on the side, you just go to Course Tools, Dropbox. There you see them. They'll have due dates out to the side. We're going to do one very short in-class assignment because we're going to get done with covering the syllabus really quickly, since y'all are, you know, not freshmen anymore. But I do want to make sure that my specific quirky policies are clear. Hey, cool, the Course Tools menu isn't coming down. You will want to install NetBeans at home. I bet you all already have NetBeans. If you're using an alternate development environment like Eclipse, that's also totally cool until we get to the point where I am teaching you how to do GUI development using the NetBeans form editor. That's the only time when you really have to be using NetBeans. If you're stuck because your computer crashes and you can't do your homework, the lab, you know, over here also has NetBeans, and you can come in and do your homework. My office hours, I'm typically here during the day. During the evenings, I'm teaching, so I don't have office hours available in the evening. However, if you notice, you can come down to the office before class on Mondays and Wednesdays. So, hopefully that would cover it. I wish that I could stay after class and hang out for 20 minutes working on programs. That's my favorite thing to do. But I won't be able to because I have to run to the next class to teach. So if you need to meet with me, let me know. We can meet in my office or we can just come up here early. Just let me know. This thing down here, the second post, free software. If you want to download Microsoft software, Visual Studio and stuff like that, you can. If you want to get VMware, which is virtual machine software, you can. If you want to download Microsoft Office for students, you can try that link. It's not guaranteed to work because it's not run by us, but you can give it a shot. That's how I got it. If you want to do Python development, there's a link to Python. But here's the important one, the Java development. And I bet everybody's already got it installed. If not, you'll get it installed.
I think I got an older version.
That's not going to be, don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Oh.
I think you can just hang with it. Each iteration of the language, each major version number they bump up, they add something new to it. But the textbooks and the professors don't really jump on the newest features,
Right.
and sometimes they look, a little bit alien. They've added some what are known as functional programming techniques to Java rather than procedural, and they make the code look really weird. So I'm not going to be teaching anything that's not already in the Java that you have unless you're dealing with something like 10 years old.
No, not that.
All right, go to the syllabus if I can. Yes, I know my connection is not private. That is the soft assignment, not the syllabus. If you need access to the course schedule or to the calendar for, the spring, stuff like that, it's under important school information. It's just there for you to get a hold of. It's nothing that I compiled. It's just links out to the web. The introduction document is the same thing that was posted on the front page. Let's hit the syllabus. It's largely going to be a rehash. Here is my phone number, and what I would appreciate is if everybody would whip out their phone and send me a text with your name. The reason I ask that is it's a really good way of communicating. If I know that we're going to be snowed out, I find out that class is canceled, then I can text you and say, please don't show up. Or if I'm hit by a car, then my last, dying thing will be to text y'all and let you know that I'm not going to be here. I'm kind of kidding about that, but you get the idea. So, and when you're writing your programs, if you get stuck, you can just take a picture of your screen, unless it's multiple pages that's giving you the problem. But if it's something not compiling, just a snapshot of your code, texting it to me, I may be able to give you good help that way. If we can't, then you email it to me, and then we can work on it that way. And unless your phone number is changed for you, I already have it, but I don't mind you sending it again. Thank you. Looks like the syllabus needs to be corrected because the email address looks pretty hinky there with that hyperlink. I'll fix that, but I'm not sure if that's a consequence of just viewing it in this editor or not. Whenever you're looking at something in D2L, if it's a Word doc or a PDF, it handles it pretty well. But if it's a multi-page PowerPoint, like a chapter 5 PowerPoint that has 80 pages in it, you're just going to want to download it. The preview for PowerPoints is really terrible. So I'm going to download my syllabus. See if things look better. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. We know the textbook. The delivery method is hybrid lecture and online, meaning I will post information online and I will do lectures, and the lectures will be videotaped and posted online so that you can watch them if you miss the day. Our objectives. You ought to be able to write, compile, and debug and run Java programs using concepts such as advanced data types, inheritance, and polymorphism. Did I misspell inheritance? Where are you underlined? Yeah, pretend you didn't notice I misspelled inheritance. And graphical user interface, and hopefully other stuff like multi-threaded program, launching threads. And we will use industry standard development environments, specifically NetBeans. If you want to try other ones, Eclipse is the other biggie. you can do that. The grading scale is pretty typical. 90% is an A, 80% is a B, 70% is a C. If you're on the cusp, if you're sitting there with an 89.5, I'm going to round it up. I'm not going to be a jerk. The way the scores are broken out is your programming homework is a third of your grade. The in-class assignments plus any quizzes. We should be having chapter quizzes just to reinforce the material. But you'll be able to do the quizzes at home. Usually, I won't make you do them in class. Another third of the grade, and then lastly 2 exams, a midterm and a final.
Are we gonna have the exams online, or are we gonna?
The exams will be posted online, so for the students who are taking it as an online course, I don't mind if you take them online as well. Where was I going? Oh yeah, quizzes. The quizzes, I allow multiple retakes. You know, if it's 20 questions long and you only got 15 of them right, once you see your grade and you see which ones you missed, you can take it again to try to get 100. Why do I do that? Is it testing your knowledge that way? Not really. It's a learning tool more than a testing tool. You know, when I'm testing you, it's when you're writing your programs, and to a lesser extent during the exams. Why do I say to a lesser extent? I think writing programs is the most important thing that you learn how to do in a class rather than take exams. So when you take exams, if you take them in here, I don't mind you raising your hand and coming and asking me questions about it. You know, I'll go over there and I'll help you with it. Or if you're taking it at home, you text me, you say question 17, that just doesn't make any sense. And, you know, I'll help you with it. So it's not like I'm going to say, oh, the answer's A. But I'm going to give you enough information that you will probably make A's on the exams. That's my goal. And where I really want you to, the word struggle is not applicable. Where I really want your nose to be on the grindstone is for the programming. That's why we do in-class tutorials, to build you up to the point where you can do the homework based on the stuff that we covered in class. Programming assignments must compile. I've already mentioned that. Partial credit for assignments that do not meet full criteria. The important thing is that that's not your final answer. That you can then revise your program and re-upload. Get a 5% bonus if you do it, turn it in on time. Then things start degrading. The in-class tutorials, you know, you miss a day, you have up to a month to get it done. That doesn't mean I want you to wait a month. It just means that, you know, I know that people, you know, miss and then may not turn it around and do it the very next day that they get back home. You have to have 50% of the programming assignments to pass the course. If you look at the grading scale, it looks like, okay, I could do perfectly on the exams, I could do perfectly on the in-class and the quizzes, and then maybe just do 1 program out of 10 and I'll still make a 70. Well, you have to get half of the programs written in order to pass the class, despite whatever your average is otherwise. Important dates. Notice I said that we had 2 exams, and then come down here and I say we have 3. So we're going to have to figure out, we meaning me, whether we're going to have 2 exams or 3. In this class I've done, I don't know. I think we're probably going to have 3 following this schedule. So unless I change that, I'll let you know well in advance if that's going to change. So I just need to go revise this thing. Course policies. Put your phones on silent. Don't play Angry Birds during the middle of class. Don't put anything on your screen that you know, would distract the people sitting behind you, or if you're in the back room that would alarm people walking through the door. Don't listen to headphones. Don't use vapes. Believe it or not, when vape cigarettes came out, people thought, well, that's not smoking. I'll do that in class. No, you can't. Keep up with the due dates. They're all posted on D2L, so you really don't have a lot of excuse for not knowing when something is. As an exam gets closer, it'll be posted on the front page news. You should be able to expect me to provide clear instructions for assignments. If you don't understand it, it's upon me to help you understand it, to write clarifications, whatever. So please ask me questions. I will answer questions regarding assignments, whether you pose them in person or email or phone or text. I should give at least a week's notice of due assignments. I'll never make anything due less than a week from today. And all due dates are clearly shown in D2L. If you email me, I usually get back in 24 hours. If it's on the weekend, it may be longer than that. But if you text me, your responses should be just about immediate unless I'm otherwise occupied, like teaching or sleeping. If you get stuck on a programming problem or something won't compile, you can just take a picture of it we're doing a little bit of a rehash. Student support services, if you have disabilities like dyslexia, or it's difficult for you to type or something, that's okay. Just visit the Office of Disabilities and they will help you create a form that gets given to me to help you. So if you need extra exam time, that's fine. Whatever they cook up to help you with, I am happy to oblige, and just let me know. Student handbook, if you want to go out and never read that, you can. Academic integrity, no cheating. So what's cheating in a class like this? When we're doing the in-class assignments, I don't care if y'all are looking at each other's screens, because I'm typing along up here, and if you make a mistake, if you forget to capitalize something and it's not compiling, when there's only 6 people in here, or however many they're going to be in here, it's not going to be a problem for me to come back and go, you forgot the P, or whatever. But the larger the class gets, the more useful it is for people to be looking at each other's screens and helping each other. You're done, you're not, you can go, I'm going to help you with that. But that's totally okay. Our in-class assignments ought to pretty much look very similar to each other, because you're just following along with what I'm typing. The homework is different. You need to be doing the homework on your own. And the expectation may be set up that since you were helping each other in class, you now have a programming buddy that you'll do the homework with. No, I'm your homework buddy. Let me know. So that is one thing that people could do that would get in trouble, is if you're turning in identical assignments. So either, you borrow somebody else's assignment and turn it in. You need to be careful. This is just general advice. If you give your program to somebody else because they want to see how you did it so that they can do it themselves, there's a high likelihood they're just going to turn in what you did. I've even had people turn in files with the other person's file name in the zip file. You would think that you would know to change. If you got the file from Tanya, you shouldn't have upload it in a zip file named Tanya.zip. But anyways, do your own work. Don't turn in anything else. The other thing, which is a little bit more nebulous, is online support. Google is your best friend as a programmer. If you're stuck and you don't know how to create an array or step through it or something like that, you're going to Google it up and you're going to find code that does it. Of course, that is totally okay. But if it's a larger assignment and you're taking like an entire program that you found online, or effectively paragraphs, it's kind of like writing a paper. You better at least quote, cite your sources if you do that. What's happened in the past that I've had to object to is if I give an assignment like write a Caesar's cipher and it's supposed to accept this kind of input and produce this kind of output. And the student couldn't figure it out, so they Googled up Caesar's cipher, and they found a program that does a Caesar cipher. It didn't do what I asked for at all, but they went ahead and gave it to me. Wow, I wrote a program. No, you didn't. It didn't follow my specs at all. I was able to Google it and within 30 seconds find the exact same source code. So I told them, no, that's a 0 and you have to rewrite it. If y'all are collaborating, using each other's the first time I catch that, that's a 0 on the assignment. The second time would be a visit to the dean's office with me or whatever. Fortunately, none of y'all are going to do that, so we're all good and we don't need to talk about it anymore. I would say generally the higher the level of course, the less shenanigans people get into. But at other colleges I found that not to be the case. But at Rose, I found that to be the case. All right, guys. Last thing I would like for y'all to do is there is a Dropbox out there. Go to the Dropbox. It says, in Class A, simple program. There should be a document in there, Word doc, with specifications for a very simple program. I don't even want you to write a whole program. I don't want you to fire up NetBeans and write a working program. I just want you to write a few lines of code. If your program was already set up and it already had a main method and it already had, the import scanner and stuff like that, that asks the user's name, prints hello, followed by their name, and then uses a loop to print the numbers 1 through 10. This is just kind of a sanity check. It's probably going to be way too basic. If it's not, I'll find out real soon. You're going to make 100 on this, even if you just turn in something that says, I don't know. So Don't stress it. Just write something that'll kind of work. I don't care about capitalization. You know, you can just put it in the same Word doc, whatever. Just has to kind of look close to let me know that you have taken a Java course in the past and that you did understand it.
My job was kind of rusty, so I don't know.
Well,
My job was a little
Yeah.
rusty. It's
Yeah,
been a
just-
while back. I'll have to.
just
see
go
if-
with it. You know, like I said, you'll make 100 on it, even even if you just put I don't remember or whatever.
My Dropbox didn't have anything.
Oh, dang it. And then the rest. So after the first three parts, asking username, printing it out, and then displaying the numbers 1 through 10. Write a line of code that creates an array of any type that is 10 elements long. Don't need to put any data in it, just needs to allocate the space for it. And then write code that would swap the first two elements of that array, were there any. And like I say, program doesn't actually have to work. You get 100% just for submitting the document, even if this document just says, I have no idea.